Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is gonna be a little makeup get ready with me chatty, but I'm gonna be featuring the Chanel Tweed quad in number 4, which is Brune et Rose. I know you guys are super tired of seeing these videos, so that's why I made this kind of like a get ready with me, because as usual late to the game. Surprisingly enough, by the way, I am using the Chanel CC cream with broad spectrum 50, and I am shade 30 beige. If you hear my little child, my little baby in the background, she's starting to eat solids now, guys. She had scrambled eggs this morning and it was super funny. It was a sight to see. She got more egg on her face than she did inside her mouth. But you know, that's how it is when they start, using finger foods, She actually likes eggs. So we actually tried beans the other day. She liked those. She just has a hard time picking them up because they're a bit slippery. So she's working on all that, grip strength, motor strength, coordination, and it's really funny to watch. Anywho, so you guys are gonna be super shocked. I know that you would have expected me to pick up all 4 Tweed quads, but I didn't. I was actually really good with this collection, and I thought I wasn't. I thought I was for sure gonna pick up all 4 and just be really extra. But I didn't, and there's a couple of reasons why. Number 1, 2 of the color stories did not speak to me, which was the pink and purple one and the very orangey fall geared one. Reason being is I have my Naked Heat palette and I have my Natasha Denona bronze palette. I have the Viseart Warm Edit palette. So I have that color story many times over in my collection. And honestly, that's a very specific color story that I can only use during a certain season of the year. And with that said, each of these quads were $88. I mean, let's just have a moment of silence for that for a moment. I'm using my Chanel corrector in Pesh to see if it's gonna do anything for that giant green line I have that runs under my eye. We'll see if this works out for me. Yeah, $88. I mean, don't get me wrong, these quads are gorgeous. They really are. And I feel like they just went above and beyond and really put their creative artistic skills. But I don't know, I just think that $88 for an eyeshadow quad that is gonna expire, it is gonna get old. As much as you want to keep it as a collector's piece, it's not gonna last you forever. So $88 for something that normally costs $62 was not something I was willing to, spend, basically. And that's a total personal thing. Like, how much you choose to spend on makeup is your business. I'm just trying to give you my thought process on why I didn't purchase all 4. So the only 2 that spoke to me was this one that I picked up and the other bronzy one. But then again, how many more bronzy palettes do I need to have? So the reason I ended up going with the number 4 palette was because you guys know I am not super comfortable with using cool tone shades. And so the only cool toned palette I have, neutral cool tone palette I have in my collection is my Natasha Denona glam palette. So I ended up picking up a quad that I knew I didn't have too much of in my collection and that I knew I could use all season long. Now, we all know that, oh, by the way, I'm using the Chanel bronzer in medium. And this is the Soleil de Tan. I'm using my Real Techniques brush to apply this. We all know that the inspiration behind these quads was the iconic Chanel tweed. They make these tweed suits and skirts and jackets. I don't own any of them because I live in Florida. So when am I gonna wear a tweed jacket? When in this heat? So I can die of a heat stroke. I just don't know where I would ever wear a tweed jacket to, you know? I feel like if I lived somewhere where it was cooler, then definitely I can pull that off. But here it's either super, super hot or I would say very, very cold. Which in that case, then the tweed jacket is not even enough to keep you warm. So where I live, we have a very small period where we have that really nice weather where it's not too hot, not too cold. I would say that probably lasts here like maybe like a month tops. And just to spend so much on something that I'm not gonna wear. So that's one thing about me that you guys should know is I will not buy anything, whether it's a bag, clothes, shoes, whatever, if I'm not gonna use it. I just won't. It really bothers me to see my hard-earned money just sitting on top of a shelf collecting dust. I don't know, that's just me. I'm weird. Moving right along, I'm gonna use my Bare Minerals a mineral veil to set my face. And so I just thought, out of all of these four, they're already super overpriced. You know, am I really gonna use these? And my answer was no. Because honestly, if I really wanted to use a fall palette, I would reach for any of the other palettes I talked about over the Chanel one. And that's just my honest truth. Now, do I think they were pretty? Oh my gosh, forget pretty. They're beautiful. They're a piece of work. I mean, I'm sorry, a piece of art, truly. I mean, they don't even look like eyeshadows. They really do look like pieces of tweed fabric. So really, my hat's off to Chanel for that. I mean, they did such a good job to really make it look realistic. Even in the pictures, I mean, the texture I was surprised. I didn't even know you could put that much detail into a powder product and actually have it stay, you know, which probably makes sense. You know, I know that the print starts to, you know, wear off after you use it, but just the fact that it even stays that way for a while is beyond me, really. So for that reason, I only picked up one and I was really proud of myself. I had no regrets picking up just one. I did pick up the mascara though. So I know it didn't launch with that collection, but we have it here. We will use it in conjunction with this palette just so that we can demo it again. All right, what am I, oh, I need blush. I'm gonna use my Chanel blush in Alizane. This one is the one that came in that limited edition packaging. I don't know when my camera's not focusing. Drives me nuts when it does this. So you see how the Chanel here is in red and then it's got the red CCs. they like redid these blushes, and it's not the same formula. They're very powdery, guys, and I still preferred the old formula versus this one. I'm using Or Beige, I think it's called, as well, and they're just very powdery. These are much more scented than the original, in my opinion. They are fairly pigmented. I'm just not a fan of, I just don't think they're as smooth as the original formula. There's a lot of kick up with them, so I prefer the other one, but whatever. Anyways, if you're wondering, the number of this blush is 260. So anyways, I watched a ton of reviews on these Tweed quads and the swatches and all that jazz. All right, so I'm just applying some of my Urban Decay Primer Potion. Anyways, I lost my train of thought as usual. Oh, that's another thing. Those of you who have had kids, please leave me a comment down below. But I often lose my train of thought, and I don't know, I'm sure it has to do with like the lack of sleep, but it's very frustrating, and it makes me have to do a lot of takes when I'm filming, because I will be talking to you guys about something and I will just forget and go blank, and there'll just be silence, and I literally will just sit there waiting for my thought to come back. It never comes back. It never comes back. So anyway, moving on. I only picked up one. I saw a bunch of, oh, that's what it was. See, came back. I did see a bunch of swatches, and I had no regrets not picking up all four. I picked up the one that I wanted, and it is still a collector's edition, and I will enjoy it just as much. So here is the packaging. It is this beautiful tweed casing. However, I already have a major problem with this, but I was told that it's normal, and by my sales associate at Chanel, but I'm really upset about it because I paid $88, and I understand that something's handmade, but tell me if any of you have this same problem with yours. So I received mine, and there's this 2 long strings that are already out. They're already out, and I'm afraid that it's gonna, you know, continue to become loose or something and unravel the rest of the casing. I mean, is this casing not the whole point of making the eyeshadow palette $88? I'm just saying. If anybody else had this problem, please leave me a comment down below, because I was told by my SA that this was normal. I don't think so. I don't think that is normal, but okay. Anyway, lesson learned. On the inside, you have the beautiful Chanel logos, and then the packaging is still the original CCs. And then on the inside, oh, let me take off the plastic covering. You have the number 4 Tweed palette in Brune et Rose. Very cool toned, very neutral. All right, so let's go ahead and grab some brushes and let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the lightest shade here, and I'm going to try and apply it with a Real Techniques base shadow brush. So the texture of these shadows are tough because of the texture. Makes sense, I mean, for something like that to last. So it looks like this is kind of like a topper shade. I'm gonna zoom you guys in. Okay, so it looks like this is like a topper shade. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to dip into this really light taupe shade right here, and I'm gonna use that as the base instead. Just gonna use the same brush. I can tell with how tough the eyeshadows are that it will take some time, you know, for that texture to go away, you know, kind of wear off. Because of the texture of the shadows, like, you know, the way that they made it look like tweed, you do get some kick up from the shadows, which to me makes total sense. Because you have something that kind of feels rough and bumpy. So this shade is absolutely gorgeous. I'm just taking it all over the lid, all the way to the brow bone. You think it's gonna be like a matte shade, but it's actually like a satin finish. It's very pretty. All right, next I'm gonna go in with my Bare Minerals Soft Focus shadow brush, and I'm gonna go into this shade right here. Which is, you saw how much kick up there was there, huh? Which seems to be the transition shade in this palette. And I'm just gonna run that very lightly in my crease. That's really nice. Another thing that people critiqued about these palettes, and I'm talking about people who are familiar with Chanel makeup. And the reason I say that is because I think that the reviews from people who are not familiar with the aesthetic of this brand is a little unreliable. And I'll tell you why. If everybody knows that Chanel eyeshadow, Chanel makeup in general, you know, it's the French girl look. It's not, this is not Natasha Denona. This is not you know, a brand that produces high pigmented makeup. That is not their aesthetic. It never has been their aesthetic. So when you don't know that background and then you go and you spend this much money on luxury makeup, yes, you're gonna be shocked because that's, you know, it's not what you're used to working with. If you're somebody who likes to wear really high pigmented shadows or, you know, heavier looking makeup, then I can see how this can be a bit of a shock. But that is not the aesthetic of Chanel. And so, you know, I think that the pigmentation of this particular quad is very normal. It's not anything different than what Chanel produces year round. I'm going to be using that darker shade in the palette, and I'm gonna use that to deepen out my outer corner. And I'm gonna be using just a Ulta crease brush. This isn't any different than what Chanel produces. I think the shadows are actually very nice and they feel great. With that said, I really paid attention to people who did who have been reviewing luxury brands, and specifically, you know, Chanel eyeshadow, you know, Chanel makeup for a while. And I know that a lot of people had a complaint with the pink and purple palette, that there was zero pigmentation there, which was unfortunate because, you know, that's a lot of money for something that wasn't, you know, when the quality is not there, you know, because it can look pretty, you know, an eyeshadow palette can look pretty and be a piece of art, but it's still an eyeshadow palette and it's supposed to be designed to be used. And so I felt really bad for, you know, those people, because, you know, having to return something is already very annoying. And, you know, some people just rather not even put up with the hassle. And it's just something that'll just sit there and not be used. But I did purchase my palette immediately. I got it during pre-sale. So I actually hadn't watched any reviews before my purchase. I just, looking at the swatches, I made my purchase based on the swatches that I saw on Instagram from other people who were able to get it before we were here in the States. And I'm okay with it. I really do like this palette. And like I said, I think that so far it's performing beautifully. I don't see this to be any different than any other Chanel, you know, quad I've purchased. I think it's beautiful, and I think that I will really enjoy this for many years to come. I'm gonna use my Charlotte Tilbury smudger brush, and I'm going to dip into these two shades back and forth, and I'm gonna drag that under the lash line. Now the question really is if they would have been priced you know, at that regular, I think it's $62 mark, would I have picked up all four? I don't think that, you know, I don't think I would have, guys. I don't think I would have. I think that I'm in a season in my life where I have a big enough collection where I can be choosy about the things that I need and don't need, you know? Things have to really wow me in all aspects. So it can't just be beautiful. It has to be beautiful and user-friendly. I have to see myself getting use out of that product. And if that's not the case, then it's gonna be a no for me. So I didn't even explain. I'm talking, not even explaining what I'm doing. So I just dragged that halfway bottom lash line. I'm gonna go in with some mascara and some eyeliner. I'm gonna be using this Chanel eyeliner that I recently hauled in 522. I think it's called Metallic Bronze. You guys, I'm not super impressed with these liners. Let me tell you why. So it has something to do with the color. I think the color is really good and the formula is great, but it's the wand. Every time you take this out of the tube, look how much, it's very globby. You get like a glob of product in here. If my camera is gonna focus, that would be wonderful. So you get a glob. It's like a glob on the wand every time. And you have to like, you know, swipe it on the side of the tube, and then that starts to get buildup. So I won't be purchasing these anymore. I think that they need to design this. Like, look at this. Every time you pull this out of the tube, you get a glob of product, which makes it really hard to work with. So I'm gonna apply some mascara to my top lashes only. Maybe my bottom lashes, we'll see. I'm going to apply some base primer to my lashes. This is a Chanel one. I will be using the new Chanel mascara. And I will be using my Gimme Brow eyebrow gel. Actually, I'll use this on camera. This is, I'm number 4. I'll just apply some. No, you guys know this is one of my favorite eyebrow products. And I think that the reason that is because it's their shade range is so big that it is nearly impossible not to find your proper like eyebrow color with Benefit. And I think that that is a big problem with other companies, is that yeah, their formula can be great, but if you don't have that, you know, that perfect color, it's your eyebrows. It's super important. It's gonna make everything else look weird. So that's why I always go back to my Benefit Gimme Brow. All right, so I applied mascara, eyebrow gel, I'm zooming you guys in there, and eyeliner. So again, I'm not a fan of this mascara. It makes your lashes really clumpy. It does not apply the product evenly. As you can see, it gives you like spider lashes. I love their original formula. The eyeshadow is really pretty, and so is the eyeliner, truly. It's a shame that the wand is, you know, not the wand, but the packaging doesn't work well with the product. Maybe in the future they'll fix that, and then maybe I'll revisit that product. But again, eyeliner, mascara, I won't be repurchasing this. It's a really cool, I love the concept. I love this. If they can do this with the original formula, that would be wonderful. Now, oops. And also, this mascara was supposed to have like a red tinge to it. There's no red tinge. The red tinge, what's red is the wand. The wand is red, but the actual mascara is not. I'm gonna apply some Chanel lip liner in Beige Natural 156. And I'm like doing a thicker line, kind of filling my lips in with this liner. What I've been up to lately pretty much is being a mom. My husband and I did like a little staycation, as in, you know, we just stayed in town. We just had my mom and my mother-in-law, well, really my mother-in-law, watch the baby. I am gonna go in with Rouge Coco Flash in number 52 Casual. They both watched the baby while we were out that long Labor Day weekend, and guys, we were so tired that I didn't post a single picture of us on our anniversary. We slept so much. We definitely needed that break. So I find that with the Rouge Coco Flash colors, when I pair them with a lip liner, they tend to last longer, and it tends to really amp up the color, because these are very lightly pigmented, but I really like the way that that works together. So I recently got a haircut and I'm loving it, really. Curly hair, it's hard to find like a hairstyle that you can really grow into and you don't have to constantly style. Like if I just want to wash my hair and let it air dry, I can do that with this cut. So I really do like that. All right, anyways, I'll stop rambling. This is the final look. I would love to know. I do not regret picking up this eyeshadow palette. I really do love it. If you pick, I'm just upset about this casing that I plan to use with all of my other Chanel eyeshadow palettes, and it is the only you know reason that I picked this up, because you know it's $88. It's coming with a little tweed casing, and that's what we're dealing with here. I don't think that this case is gonna last me very long with that, the way that it is. Anyways, I do love the eyeshadow palette. Let me know which one you guys picked up. If you guys picked up all 4, let me know which one after trying them and using them, because you know, everything's very exciting when you first buy it, but what really tells you whether you love something and you feel like it was your money's worth is when you actually sit down and use it. Like, what are you reaching for? Out of the 4 that you picked up, which are the ones that you absolutely love and can't live without and have 0 regrets picking up? I would love to know in the comments down below. I also want to know if you guys picked up the eyeliners. I actually skipped out on the eyeliners. I didn't like I think I only liked the metallic one, which was kind of like a gold, but I have antique gold and I felt like it was very similar, so I just decided to skip out on it. We'll see, because I really love Chanel eyeliners and I think I may pick that one up. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, editing Isabel, I just realized that when I turned off the camera, I never used the topper shade. I am the worst YouTuber. I'm gonna go in with my finger and we're gonna apply that to the center of the lid, which, by the way, can we just look at this color? And let's just apply that to the center. Whoa. Oh, I got some up there. I didn't mean to get some up there. That is pretty. I gotta see the other eye. So I'm just patting it like with my finger versus like, I feel like if I pat it, I have more control to where it goes. That's pretty. That is a really pretty sparkly shade. Now it's a complete makeup look, right? Doesn't that, I know I was missing something. I was looking at this and I'm like, why does my pink shadow look so perfectly untouched? Yeah. And you know what I realized? I never did swatches. Where was I going without doing swatches? So we're gonna do that right now. So I want to show you what these look like on my finger, and look at the embossing. So it does start to wear off, but it's still there. It's still very prominent. So here are the colors, and then we've got that topper shade. It's a really pretty rose gold. It's got a nice pink shift to it. This is that pretty taupey shade that surprised me, that has that shimmer in it. And then we've got that transition shade on the bottom, buttery smooth, and then we've got that dark shade. Honestly, this is such a pretty palette. It's just gorgeous, and the formula is really good. It is that top-notch, you know, Chanel quality that we all love and we're all used to. Anyways, I'm sorry that this video has been all over the place and super messy, but I am trying my best. Thank you guys so much for watching, for tuning in, and see you in my next video. Bye.